Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Quantum Show now that you can hear me all right. Coming in the front door, Lynn and Tim. What's up, guys?
Hi.
Hey,
Can y'all hear me okay? Sound check?
Yeah, pretty
I can
good.
hear you good.
Okay, good deal. Good deal, good deal, good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Happy for your good news.
that I needed it. I
Yes.
needed it. But I gotta put this out that I over mojoed myself and the pipes just couldn't take it. That's
Okay.
why it happens. That's why it happens to some of us and not others. Sorry, just too much mojo, baby.
that was delightful.
I
I couldn't help
you heard it here on
myself.
the Quantum Show. I'm gonna put that on paper. Next time I go to the hospital, they're gonna reason for visit. Too much mojo. Pipes couldn't take it.
Oh,
Alrighty then.
Oh,
So
you know
y'all.
they pass that stuff around.
Oh yeah, let him.
Oh
Let
yeah,
him.
absolutely.
It's that guy. He's coming to our department. He's got too much mojo. Ladies, watch out. Okay, we got a good sound check from the chat room. Sound is good. It sounds
Alrighty.
loud and clear. Good deal. Thanks everybody, and thanks everybody for coming to the quantum panel where we roll around these discussions and talk about stuff and anything related. If you're here, you're quantum. Like and subscribe. Alrighty then. So y'all heard the updates that I went through on the first hour?
Yes.
yes.
Okay. So uh yeah, that tree was I compared both videos. And in the first video, I walked around the corner and it was a tree about 18 inches, which is still pretty big, right?
Yeah.
But then in the second video, the entire corner got taken out by a second tree, which was like 4 feet across, 3 feet across, 4 feet across. Big, big, big tree.
It looked like it
Evidence.
had big trouble though. It looked
What's
like
that?
it had hollowed out.
Yep. It was bugs, worms,
Mhm.
and poison ivy that took that tree down. And that video where I was like, I just heard something loud crashing through the woods. It was the ginormous tree. I didn't get Bigfoot. I got big tree. Okay.
Bigfoot was in the tree. Think
Bigfoot was
positive.
in the tree. Bigfoot took down the tree. Prove me wrong. Prove me and Lynn wrong.
Hiya, Rachel. Hi, Renee. Hi,
Hey, everybody.
Samo. Hi, Aussie. I miss anybody? But I did. Sarah. Hi,
Oh,
Sarah.
Sarah. Yeah,
And no
Sarah.
memes. Oh man, I love those
Those action figures
action
are
figures are out of this world.
heck yeah. There and the quotes he put on them. I went over in another video. I'm not going to break them all out because it's hard to they're hard to manage, right? But yeah, that was that was one of the highest points of my week, and that was
In
awesome.
just the right time, too, don't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, when you're at the point where you're actually wanting to call the veterans crisis hotline, that's a low point, right? I went through it.
No, wait a minute.
Hmm.
You mean they don't send a veteran out to cheer you up?
No, no,
They send an ambulance.
yeah,
What do I know?
and but yeah, they all that and the trip to Dallas. Holy cow, that's
That's
awesome.
that is a dream come true. Get you out of that other fellow's space, and
Oh,
for all
he
you know, they're watching him.
well, I hope they're watching him. I tagged him plenty of times. Yeah, I went to HR on him a few times. I had a conversation with them, and they kept defending him. I'm like, hey, you know what? No, he's breaking whatever. I'm not. I'm not dwelling on that anymore. Now it's Dallas Quantum Show.
They
Nice.
send you and not him. Think about
Yeah,
it.
he ain't qualified to run no
They
office.
want that job done right.
Mm-hmm. it is funny how there's two extremes of the way they hire people. Either 10 years plus experience, or they go to the Walmart cashiers. Like, come on, y'all. We're flying airplanes to support our nation's infrastructure. Ante up some qualifications, all right?
Really?
Well, we're in an inverted population pyramid, so there's going to be less and less plentiful help as time goes on.
Yeah. And
they know it too.
Right.
Just like that song, I quoted that song last week, and the pills will make you dance, Dance Kid Dance by Shinedown. They made us this way. Well, here comes who's there? Who's here to save us? Gen X, the fuck around and find out generation. That's who's here to save us all. We're here, and we're bringing Bigfoot and the aliens.
Here I come to save the day. I got pills. Yeah.
Well, I got pills, but I'm not. They're like vitamins.
I know they're for temporary for a while yet.
Yeah, the pills I got are Mojo Support. Mojo Support pills. I need to make a label. Mojo Support by the Quantum Show. Highly recommended. Do not argue with science. But there's also, I forgot, I picked up a book. And this is after watching Sir Bryan Bowden, shout out Bryan Bowden, on his recommendation, Remote Viewing, The Essential Guide to Remote Viewing. I picked it up. It was cheap. It wasn't super expensive. It was like $9, on Amazon. So, because there's a bunch of remote viewing books out there. I've got like 3. But I picked it up. I'm going to go be looking through it. And they're sending me with another person, right? I don't know if we're going to share a room. I know we're probably going to share a car, but I have a feeling.
They generally have on business trips like that. They usually send 2 so that they get twice the bang for their buck.
Right. But see, I'm not going to be in a room with him. He's going to be in a room with me. Okay. And he's going to watch me do all my little weird stuff. Like I'm bringing the mushroom coffee, and I'm going to be bringing all the healing potion stuff, and he's going to watch me craft the coffee, because each cup is a healing potion. There's a recipe. It's like a potions class in Hogwarts. Every time I make a freaking cup of coffee, and he's going to see this.
Mr.
I've already
Butter.
freaked out. Tim, remember Popowski? I freaked him out. He reported me. He did. He reported me in my room for using a candle. He said I was praying to a candle, and he was, for real. I look over, and I'm doing my thing, and I'm finishing up, and I look over, and he's in his bed like.
But were candles against regulations back then?
Well, to sleep with them, but I just used a little thing,
right?
And
right, for religious purposes, a tea candle I don't see being
right. No one knew that, right? Nobody knew that, but Popowski freaked out. I don't know. Was he? Actually, Popowski was at Fort Bliss. My bad, dude. But
that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I freaked out one person at Fort Bliss. I freaked out all of Hanau. All of Underwood Concern, because they were like having meetings about,
your trading cards.
Yeah. They thought I was trying to recruit people. Oh my God. No,
that's a biggie in the old religion. You don't proselytize.
I wasn't proselytizing. I was just doing me.
Right.
I know, but we don't do that stuff.
Right. They thought I was.
Oh gosh. I've done some things and had crazy Karens calling. You're doing this to my child. How old's your child?
Yeah, that was 25. Our commander.
Yeah, that's Karen.
He spent like $10,000. I don't know. I like to think he spent $10,000 on a new office chair. because of the way he was.
One that flings him across the room.
No,
you can fix that.
Yeah, but I mean, I went from freaking out one person at Fort Bliss to freaking out the whole post because they seriously, they brought me in to talk to me, say, okay, Alan, this is my commander, that fucking guy, okay, the commander and the colonel, what's his name, and sergeant major, they brought me in to say, okay, Alan, we went through all. Here's what tripped me out. They said, now this is the early days of the internet. This is like 1997. Okay,
Yeah,
we went through all. We went through all the internet and looked at all the witchcraft pages, and I'm like, yeah, no, you didn't. Reddit wasn't even big back then, but they said that. They sat me down in a briefing, took me to the command office and said, we looked at all the pages and like, what do you do? I'm like, well, I told them it's what I do. And I'm not trying to get anybody to do it with me, but if anybody wants to know, I ain't going to censor myself. I say that now. I was like, I'm not going to hide it from them. And the bookstore had a love-hate relate. Remember that bookstore over there, Tim, the AP's bookstore?
Yes.
It's a dim memory for me, but they had a love-hate relationship because somebody got their hands on a spell book that's widely published, just like a Five Below now, and they were causing trouble with it. And oh man, they tried to blame me. And I'm like, I don't control APs.
Seriously. Hi, Amanda.
In our time period, they had a lot of issues. APs. They had the Military Honor and Decency Act, which did the opposite of what it was intended to do. It mainly censored anything they deemed too pornographic or misunderstood by the public to go forward. They basically, you had to order books that you knew existed blindly.
I remember that
system rather than straightforward go to a bookstore and select a book like you would normally.
Right. Yeah, I actually did a short on the stuff that's at Five Below now, and it's all about herbs and tarot and divination. And I'm like, this at Five Below? Really?
Hell yeah.
Freaking muggles. They need it. They need it bad. They need it bad.
They
need to just get on with it. Well, I'm glad it's at Five Below, but it took long enough. Okay. Mainstream mysticism. I love it. But
it's hilarious. It's a simple book of herbal remedies is not craft. It's herbal remedies. I use herbals probably as much as you do, Nathan. And I don't put anything in this body that I deem unfit, and that includes pharmacy chemicals. Doctor tried to throw me on metformin. I said, no disrespect intended, but fuck no. And, an old lady has to say fuck at least once a day to keep her mental health going. So anyhow, the thing is, though, if we got this country back to using some herbals, now, herbals are not going to cure cancer. They're not going to cure some really serious stuff. But if you've got allergies or you have tummy problems or things like that, herbals can be a great help.
Yeah, they are definitely
fight problems.
Yeah, they prevent for sure.
Yes.
They can prevent big time, right? Okay, right now I want to go over, speaking of this stuff, I want to go over the more common side effects of pioglitazone. Okay. I know y'all can't read it, but more common. I'm just going to read them through, right? Chest pain, decreased urine output, dilated neck veins, extreme fatigue, irregular breathing, irregular heartbeat, problems with teeth, swelling of the face, fingers, feet, or lower legs, tightness in the chest, trouble breathing, weight gain. Less common, pain or swelling in the arms or legs without an injury, pale skin, swelling, trouble with breathing when active, unusual bleeding or bruising, unusual tiredness or weakness. And these are incidents not known, so I'm just not going to go through those, right? And may need medical attention. You can
Hives,
adjust.
eye problems, all of those things.
Yeah, eyes and teeth.
Yeah.
I have had that since being on this med. Blurred vision, other changes of vision. Cough, dry mouth. Yep, flesh, dry skin. Me, fruit-like breath odor. Haven't had that. Headache, increased hunger, increased thirst, increased urination, loss of consciousness. What?
But, you must lose weight, right?
Yeah, muscle pain, soreness.
But they'll set you up so you can't.
Yeah, problem. We're fixing the blood sugar in spite of everything else. Problems with your teeth, running your stuffy nose, sore throat, stomach ache. That's 2 words, people. Mayo Clinic. Stomach ache is not 1 word. Sweating, unexplained weight loss. Wait a minute. Was it weight gain up in here?
It was.
Yeah, it was.
They're just covering their ass. That's all they're doing.
Really?
Yeah. So, of course, I elected not to take it.
And then you have what's called black box warnings that the pharmacist gets to see.
And you don't.
I don't know of those. Let me see here. Let me see if I can, if there are any.
Yeah,
No.
because usually people won't call their doctor. They'll call their pharmacist because guess what? The pharmacist actually spent several years in college to understand pharmacology.
Found it.
The doctor spends a semester. No kidding.
Yeah, your pharmacist will tell you if they put you on 2 things that don't go together. Your doctor will just continue to put you on stuff.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, I asked my doctor, who was in charge of an entire clinic, how long did you spend in pharmacology? Oh, a semester. And I was like, and that means no.
A semester is less than basic training, people.
It's 6 weeks. And the whole darn thing about this is they might spend 2 seconds reading what they need to do to prescribe something. If you have a serious or chronic illness, be damn careful. And they can just throw out the pills, no problemo. Same thing, statins. Oh man, that's high on their list. You got to be on a statin. Well, what if you're allergic to them? I mean, like your throat closes up and you want to die.
Yeah,
I am.
Statins. I asked them about the what was it?
How long they studied it?
Well, no, I asked them what the side effect is that you told me about, and that's dementia. And they go, "Oh yeah, it causes dementia." I'm like, "I'm off. I'm out." I'm like, "You're gonna just say that? Oh yeah, we're gonna give you this stuff.
It's
It'll
okay.
treat your symptom, but you're gonna get dementia." I'm like, "Well, fuck that."
Pretty much how I feel about most of it. She wanted to put me on a diabetic medicine. I said, "No." I said, "What is your goal?" She said, "To lower your blood sugar." I said, "I'll make you a $10 bet." "You in? Are you in?" Yeah. I said, "How about a blood sugar blend that has pumpkin seed, cranberry extract, boswellia, and I think for a second, what was the other one? Fiddlesticks." But that's the basics of it. And she goes, "What's boswellia?" I'm like, "It's anti-inflammatory. Get with the program." Yeah,
these people don't understand
Well, guess
where
what?
these medicines even come from. Samuel was bringing something up.
I had
Dude,
six. I had a
Mhm.
6 blood before I finish, and I will finish. Promise. I had a 6 blood count, and I brought it down to 5.
Oh, you mean
So
a
in
the
milliliters,
6 blood
six
count or
six six
blood
point
sugar?
6 point blood sugar.
Okay, you're talking about the A1C.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm at 5.5, I think.
Yeah, I got.
And that's
And they
herbal.
want to. What the hell do they want to put us on that for? Because in order to be diabetic, you have to be 8, an 8 point solid. I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So run
Samo is
along. You know.
I am hypoglycemic, right? They call it they treat for diabetes, but that's like almost making sure you're diabetic so they can it's like you've got a tiny little hole, so you drill a bigger hole in order to patch it the way you want to patch. I ain't doing that. I ain't doing
No.
that, you know? Like I got a nail in my tire. What's the first thing they do? Run an auger 3 times the size of the nail through it. What?
Right.
That's really what they do, right?
I
Okay.
know it is.
Samo is saying this. I want to address this, Samo. He says, immediately stop all sugar consumption. Sugar enters our bone marrow and offsets our immune system for about an hour after eating it. In the absence of sugar, the body can recover from most. I think he meant to type something else. Yes and no. Okay, blood sugar, when you consume sugar, now we're not talking about, like, I don't add sugar, okay? I don't
Yeah.
add sugar to anything. When I found out about this, I had a 5-pound bag of sugar and I barely used it at all for 5 or 6 years. It sat there. It turned into a brick. And then I put it, y'all probably won't remember. I had a silver can that I painted like a Cyberman head. So
Mhm.
it was even quantum back then. But okay, yes and no, Samo. Of course it doesn't okay. Bone marrow is it is affected just like everything else, but for about an hour. That's if you don't eat anything or don't drink anything or have no activity. So there's a little bit of a misnomer there. Uh, and it's good, like plenty of water, right? Will help flush your system, given your system doesn't have a mojo overload. And yeah, there we go. Too much the mojo on the Quantum Show, y'all. Huh? But so yes and no, Samo. You know, sugar is fuel. Carbs turn into sugar, turn into fuel. And
But if it doesn't, it turns into fat.
right,
If it's not used up fast enough, it turns into fat, and
right.
it's
That's why
really hard to get rid of.
I don't eat. I mean, I'm like thinking meat now. I went up like 4 points on my A1C. It's still not a lot, and I wasn't fasting when they took the blood, right? So, and
That's required.
they didn't know. I didn't know what they were going to do. They took all kinds of blood and
Well, it's
samples.
not your fault. They didn't tell you. You
Right,
should have been fasting overnight.
But
you know what my blood sugar does if I fast overnight? When I get up, it's soaring because it just tapped into my liver. What's it called? What's the liver sugar? Huh? Glycogen. There we go. And glycogen will kick in if you are too hungry and about to go comatose. So, guess what happens? The damn test goes mad. You're set up to fail.
Let me address Scream Engine. He says the brain is pretty much made of cholesterol. Correct. I heard someone say your brain is warmed up salted bacon that knows calculus. Your brain is warmed up salted bacon that tripped so hard it invented calculus. So, yes, it is made of cholesterol. That's why statin meds make you demented, give you dementia. and Alzheimer's.
And early dementia.
I don't want, yeah. And
Oh,
remember that old saying, "Fat makes you fat." Period. That was that. You know what that was?
true.
That was Coca-Cola and the soft drinks industry moving in. I watched the thing, checked the sources. They were pushing sugar.
Yes.
And here we are. Everybody's diabetic or something, right?
Yeah. No, I got one for you. You're gonna love. I took care of people for about 15 years before I retired, and one of the things that I saw firsthand was the statin industry creating zombies out of my clients. That and gabapentin. Oh
boy.
On gabapentin, you're going to have an amputation somewhere down the line. Now, that's, I'm not a doctor. I don't pretend to be. And, you want to know this stuff, look it up. But I'll tell you something about statin industry. The statin industry, aided by Big Pharma, I have Lies My Doctor Told Me by Dr. Ken Berry. Big shout out to those guys. And the statin industry took a show of hands as their research model. You digging it yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, we all put our clients on statins. And the pharmacy said, hey, with a show of hands, the doctors all put their clients on statins. Completely out of context. You can read it for yourself in Lies My Doctor Told Me. And it's scary. And that's not the only place where they're lying.
Oh yeah, it's all about the push for the money for the pharmaceutical industry, and whoever controls the money. So yeah, no, we're not doctors. We're victims. We're experiencers.
And I do have papers on dietitians. They wanted to do you want to go to a dietitian? No, that's okay. I got paper. I actually knew she was going to do it, so I brought my certificates and my diplomas. I said, try again, Scooter. It's not working out for you.
Yeah, I was with a dietitian for about 6 months, and my dietitian and my doctor were telling me no garlic, no honey, no vitamin C. I'm like, those are all good things. Don't take this. Don't eat this or that and the other thing. I'm like, wait a minute. Those are all good things, but you can have as many avocados, boiled eggs, and bacon as you want because
you actually can.
Yeah, but then let's look at the in spite of thing. They're giving me high cholesterol medicine, but they're saying bacon is a free food for blood sugar, but it's not a free food for cholesterol. One thing in spite of the other.
Right. Now they'll tell you that the keto diet says, eat as much fat as you possibly can. Okay, which, believe it or not, if you eat a pound of bacon, you're not going to want to eat another pound of bacon for a couple of days. Okay, the high protein and 10 grams of sugar. Now that translated is 2.5 teaspoons of sugar a day. So if you're really bound determined, you can have it in your coffee, I guess. But I followed that diet, after having a 10A1C, and I dropped 5 points.
Yeah. And that's, we're the exception. I
basically follow it still.
Yeah, we've got manifestation on our side too. So there's that.
There's some of that. The carnivore diet is too extreme for me. Although there's many men, and it's more for men, that do very, very well on it.
I've heard of that, but I don't really look at trendy diets as
This
well.
isn't trend.
Oh, what are you talking about? I get that shit thrown to me on Facebook for a little while. It was keto, carnivore on Facebook every
Yeah,
day.
there's plenty of people who jumped on that bandwagon, but I did my research, remember?
Yeah. I need to get an air
They
fryer. It
do
seems
it.
like a really easy thing to
They
do.
started brittle diabetics. That is, say, people who were born diabetic without any ability to process sugar on the keto, what we call the keto diet, and they stayed alive. Okay. Move a little forward in the century, they started putting type 2 diabetes on it. They do very well until they get off of it and say, I'm fine now, I can eat sugar. You know, sugar is very, very addictive.
Yeah.
It, well, and anybody who's an alcoholic can tell you so, because they're burning alcohol straight up, and alcohol is sugar.
Yeah.
So, you know, you look at all this stuff, there we are. Didn't mean to turn your processes around there. You had something else you wanted to discuss.
Oh no, I was just.
I love my air fryer.
Yeah, but Samo says it's nice. But what? No, it's cool. I want to get one because it's easy and fast.
Oh, they're wonderful, and they're not that expensive.
Not anymore. I remember when they first came out, they were really expensive. But now Walmart's going for $36.
Yeah.
I remember when microwaves used to zap things across the room randomly.
I remember that. Dude, when I was living in El Paso, we had a microwave from 1984. It was awesome.
Oh,
I'll tell you what, just don't be in front of it because your buttons will melt, right? Oh yeah.
You're making me.
Oh, and I'll give you what. The hoo-ha that was raised over microwaves. Oh, so bad for you. Oh, don't use them.
Yeah, my mom was working at a place, and she told me this. Yeah, my mom was working at a place, and she said that they got their very first microwave, and it was a restaurant, and it was one of them gigantic silver ones, right? She had never known one. This was like, I want to say it was 1974 when she got it, when they got it there. One of the very first ones before they knew about, you know, the radiation coming out the front.
The ones that make a noise and make your feelings go.
Right. The ones that make you hear aliens.
You get a plate in your head and the thing goes off and you wet your pants and start convulsing on the floor.
Yeah.
What they didn't know back then.
Yeah. She had never seen one before. Nobody had ever seen one before. The thing was like $5,000 in 1974. And what she did was,
that's true.
Somebody ordered tea, right? Somebody ordered hot tea. So she takes the metal tea thing, the whole thing, puts it in there and hits 2 minutes, right? It blew up.
Shit.
The whole thing blew up.
Yeah.
And she didn't know. Luckily, it was on insurance. So they got a brand new one after that.
Oh my God. Can you imagine such a thing? I know my mother forgot and put a spoon in the microwave, and she just hit the start button. I pulled the door open. I said, Mother, I said, you've done something mistaken here. You don't tell me what to do. I said, you like your microwave, don't you? I love my microwave. And get the metal spoon out of it. You know? She looked at me and she goes, if I want a metal spoon in, I can have it. I said, you're being a bitch. Just take the metal spoon out. You know?
Yeah, one time I had a friend stay over and it was gaming related, right? And in the morning, I had scored some slightly out of date Pop-Tarts and it was like all one flavor. So I was sick of Oreo Pop Tarts for a long time.
Oh yeah.
But I didn't realize they came in foil packages because it was paper over foil, and I didn't see the foil. I never looked at it. I opened it and I put the whole package in there, and I was like, and then fireworks. I was like, whoa! Grab it, yanked the door open. It was like, yeah.
That's a way to wake up in the morning.
Yeah, that woke me up. He laughed his ass off too.
I don't know. You know, my stepchild. Well, she's no child. My stepdaughter. She cooks in the microwave. Now, as far as I'm concerned, it's a glorified warmer because I do cook. You know, but it's a trick. There's a technique to it.
You have to have a certain sense of timing that Gen X seems very, very tuned to because of the fact that we grew up with the microwave.
And no mom.
Yeah. And we wanted those things, you know, to be so fast, like in the commercial. And so we tried things, and now they have cake competitions in microwaves and things.
I don't know. I've had cake out of a microwave, and I said, "That's lovely. Thank you. No, thank you." You know.
It's nice to know that it can be done, though, because you never know when you may be stationed in Anchorage with a microwave as your companion.
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer. You know, use what you got. But I've always had a stove or a campfire. I've lived off of a fire. When I was growing up. My auntie had a cast iron stove. No kidding, wood burning. So I know a couple of techniques, but stove is by far and away my favorite.
Yeah,
it's everybody's. Gas or electric, Lynn?
Electric.
Well, I'm gas.
I can't have a gas stove in here, not with my problems.
Understand.
I love cooking on a gas stove. I would rather have a gas stove any time, but I'm still trying to teach the family how to use the buttons. You know, say high, low. You know, turn the button down. You know,
yeah.
You know, dude, burn my pan, I'll beat you. You know. So I bought a set of cast iron, and I'm on. You go ahead and you crank that baby up and see what you got.
Yeah, when I went to Colorado, my brother didn't realize why I put it on and left it on to heat up the cast iron skillet. He goes, "You warming up the fire?" I'm like, "No, motherfucker, I'm getting the pan ready, you dumb shit." I thought you were the bigger redneck here. Come on.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
cast iron's the way to go. I mean, whether you're cooking outside or in.
Yeah, I made what was it? Quesadillas.
Yeah.
I made quesadillas and they loved it. And it was like they had never had it before. I'm like, yeah, all your gringo food. Gringo food's great when you don't know what you're doing.
Well, look at all the processed food we've got out there. You know, you go to the freezer section and meal is there for you. So it's not a surprise that people are going that direction when you're working 10, 12, 16-hour days.
Right. Oh, no, I get it. But there's something, you could just spice it up a little bit, make it up a little bit better. Like there was this one guy, right? His son was in college and he visited his dad. And his dad is Chinese.
Give it a rest.
Trained.
I'm going to have to mute.
He took this freezer meal and it was like fried chicken or and beans and this and potatoes, and he's like, "This is food? Oh my god, let's do this!" And he actually used it as an ingredient to guide him to make good chicken, make the potatoes better, and beans with seasoning. And he's like,
Oh,
all this, and it wasn't even a joke. It was a video of his dad going, "Yeah, is this a whole meal? Oh, I can't have this," because he's like, a chef. So he did it up, and yeah, Amanda, you're completely right. They're feeding us garbage. So, and
depends on your ability to look at what you have. I can go into my kitchen if it's empty. If I have basics like flour or eggs, or even without eggs, because I can cook without eggs, uh, flour, eggs, sugar, um, gee whiz, uh, baking powder, baking soda, and come out with dinner. I promise you I can.
yeah.
You
Oh
know,
yeah.
but
Oh for sure.
those skills are not being taught, and they're not being taught because guess what? When everybody went to work, because we had to, because it took two incomes to uh to make your house work.
Hmm.
Kids were by themselves, also known as Gen X.
Yep. And here we are, not dead,
Not dead.
overshowing ourselves.
Yeah, we learned
Some
not
of
to put pennies in the light sockets.
yeah,
Don't fix the plugs with a fork. Yes, we can make the forks and spoons do all kinds of stuff with the car, but don't bring them inside.
And
well, that
lawn darts
explains
are
a
now
few things.
illegal because of us.
Yep.
One of my favorite toys.
Hey, hey, the strong survived. Okay, we made it. We made it through. The strong survived. Sayonara, y'all were
uh,
weak.
uh,
The weak did not make it.
Nathan, you just got a marriage proposal from Samo.
Did I?
Hey, man, I thought you loved me. Boy,
Another
how
lifetime,
quickly,
bro.
how quickly, how
Next lifetime,
fickle.
bro. Maybe we could do that. Next life, bro. Yeah, that.
No,
Oh my god, that.
you're absolutely right, though. Gen X can do anything they can set their mind to, and if they want to make pancakes, they'll figure it out. They've got the internet for crying out loud. When I
Yeah.
first got married, I had Good Housekeeping cookbook and wondered what the hell. Where's the pinch in the throw? That stuff, and it isn't in there. So I had to figure out. Okay, so I took a thing of whatever
Mhm.
and took a pinch and a grab and measured it out and said, okay, that's what they're talking about.
Gen X is a weird sideways place where you understand cursive, but at the same time you might understand binary. You you understand your neighbor's children better than their parents sometimes.
That happens.
Yeah, and we grew up with MacGyver, and I
Right.
loved it. I pick up on all that stuff.
I used to make time for MacGyver. The
Mm.
very little that I did because, well, I had kids in the 80s, you know,
Mm.
there wasn't time to do any of it, and I worked two jobs at the same time. See what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
So,
vegans don't do it. Samo's talking. I don't know how vegans do it. I love cooking and I love meat. They don't. They don't. They're like
They have
vegan.
meat envy.
Yeah, meat envy, and they need meat. It takes a while, and wasn't there a thing where vegan climbs Mount Everest to prove that vegans aren't weak and dies from the attempt because you need meat.
you need protein to build muscle, and the incomplete protein that plant food makes is not enough for the human body to take care of. But I tried veganism when my boy was about 4 or 5 years old, and I got the moniker tofu terrorist. I thought, okay. And finally, my ex said, "Listen, I love your cooking. I've married you partly because you're a hell of a cook, but God damn it, you've got to stop it. Just stop it now."
Vegans just go too far with it sometimes. But I will say their pudding is good. Like I have had at Hawthorne, Portland, some of the most amazing chocolate pudding that was cashew based instead of dairy based, and yeah, no, it was chocolate. It was fair trade chocolate.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's a vegetable. I'm not eating a chocolate bar. I'm having a salad. And I'm teasing about vegans. So if you're vegan, just laugh with me because I can make many jokes about being a meat eater.
Yeah.
Vegan humor I don't know if I want that on the air there.
I've known many a vegan. I had a girlfriend who was vegan. We used to only have 2 places that we could go to eat, and that was home and home.
You must have been so traumatized.
It was a terrible 2 weeks. Nah, it went on longer than that. But
yeah,
it was
Scream's talking about Richard Anderson as O'Neill on Stargate because he played MacGyver. But sarcastic MacGyver would be good these days, teaching Gen X sarcasm like he taught us science. Yeah, the Stargate, man. He was like the big spinny thing.
MacGyver taught me that to carry too damn much in my handbag. That's all there is to it. At one point, I had a dollhouse, and we're talking about 17, 18, 19 years old, right? Maybe even more. And I got this little sink in there. I took it out and threw it in the handbag. Said, "I've got every damn thing else except the kitchen sink," and I could drag that out too. Yeah, paperclip.
Paperclip forever. But yeah, sorry, I think I might have to take a little break here soon. But anyway, going back to y'all's week. How was y'all's week this week? Because mine was pretty full. How did it go for y'all?
Friday the 13th lived up to its name in full yesterday.
We've been swimming.
The week was good.
And from the cat dimension comes, you can see she's
speaking Friday the 13th. Here she is.
My lighting is different now. It was okay. Now it's not okay. Hold on here. Let me move something here.
That's weird. I hear her. I kind of see stuff.
It's cat dimension stuff.
I know. That is the weirdest place.
I'm outside. I'm outside because it's unbearable inside the rabbit hole there. Oh, wow. That's really intense, isn't it?
Unbearable? Why is that?
No air conditioning, and it's 97% humidity. It's been raining off and on all day, and it's just god awful. It's probably 100 and some degrees in the house.
Oh, my.
So, yeah.
She sounds
Hi,
good
everybody.
here.
How you doing?
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah, hearing you okay over here. Everybody in chat hear you?
Okay.
Say something, Raven.
Can
It's
you hear
for
me
you.
okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
What about you guys?
We hear you okay in here.
Soundstorm, huh? Okay.
Sandstorm by Dakhour. I'm not familiar with that song.
Well, I feel you. Yesterday was 106 here.
Oh, really?
And no, I'm sorry. That's today. Yesterday was 102. So I have been told that I'm not going outside until the weather gets a little cooler. So I'm stuck in the house.
Yeah, that's really brutal. But it's a dry heat, right?
It's just that with skin like paper, you know.
Yeah.
That's real. Yeah. That's white. And I burn for nothing.
Well, let's talk about the sun for a minute. We had a conversation recently about the sun and how different it is. Remember, when you were a kid and you drew pictures of the sun, you always used the yellow crayon. And now when you look at the sun, you need like a white crayon.
Yeah.
And it's hotter. I swear it's hotter. I used to be able to play out in the sun all day long. And now I can't stand. I mean, like between 11:30 and 2:30, I stay out of the sun. It just burns like so fast.
I don't see kids out playing. Does anybody else?
No.
Very rarely.
Hell, I wasn't allowed in the house until dusk.
Yeah.
And
it's like you just burn so fast for nothing. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Nathan,
Yeah, I've seen that. I've noticed that too. Yeah. Yeah, the sun has always been bright, but now it's like brighter. And I don't think it's just us.
Oh, the UV lamp, or the sun. The UV is past 11 for the past something like 10 days, except for the day it rained. And then the humidity went out the roof.
Yeah.
So, I think it is a sign of climate change. Whether you believe in it or not, doesn't matter. Well, something has changed. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. So I was listening to a lecture by what is his name now? He's a famous physicist, and he's worked in the special black ops. Come on, it was Carrie Cassidy interviewed. God, I can't think of his name. Also, Dr. Richard
Nolan.
No. He wears a little beanie cap. Gosh, I can't think of his name all of a sudden. Okay, I probably find it. I'll find it and come back to that because I know I've got it here on my YouTube thing. But anyway, I was talking about the Betelgeuse going supernova, and when the radiation from that hits our sun, it's going to trigger the sun, and the sun's probably going to do like this solar flash we keep hearing about, or the where then it's going to flash melt the poles and this crazy stuff.
It absorbs the radiation or what?
Yeah. And he also said the sun is a portal. And that's why we see these UFOs that are hooking up to it and like juicing off of it. It's like a plasma energy or something, and how they're not getting fried. You would think they'd be like crispy critters going.
They're on a different frequency.
Yeah.
They're in a different frequency. That's why. I mean, Stargate Universe touched on this. That ship was shielded again. It went into a blue dwarf, right? Or blue giant. And these collectors came out, and it refueled the ship. So yeah, that's been a known thing for a long time.
Yeah, but how many of us have actually seen it? Because one night I was looking at a special NASA channel and watching sunbursts, CMEs coming off the sun. what I didn't expect to see was a very large thing, we'll say a thing or a UFO, had put some sort of a collection hose down to pick up the CMAs and watched it fly away. It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the sun is in our frequency range. That's why we're acclimated to our environment. And when you get out of that frequency, it's like putting a warp bubble, a warp shell around you. You are out of reality slightly. You can still, like us with dark matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're saying, look at dark matter. Well, dark matter doesn't seem to exist, but yet we have evidence of it because I think it's on a different frequency. Okay,
I think you're right. I don't think that anything from this planet that's been put up, has been built, can withstand the sun for any length of time. Maybe a sharp blip and it's gone.
Or a pyramid.
That's possible.
Pyramids, they're still here. But yeah, the only things that survived are things made of giant stone. Because they're so stable, and well, stone has crystal in it. Crystal is multi-frequency. Here we go, back to frequency.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I'm amazed though, for all the things that happened to the world since the pyramids were built, and I think it's interesting to remember that Cleopatra is closer to our time and day than she would have been to the making of the pyramids.
Oh, yeah.
So, when you realize how many thousands of years ago that was, millennia, I'm amazed that the pyramids were not turned to glass for some of the meteor strikes and some of the rest of it, like the strike in the Sahara that turned sand to glass.
Put your headphone thing, your mic down. We can hear you better when your mic.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
It sounded like you were talking through a cup.
I'll bet I did. I could do it again. See, watch this.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Not quite the
I didn't want to interrupt.
Reception I expected.
Yeah, I didn't want to. But yeah. So, Raven, did you hear any of the first hour?
Parts back and forth. I'm in the game, and so I kind of go back and forth.
Okay.
I tried to do the split thing, listen with this ear and then try to listen to the other with the other ear. And sometimes I can do it, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I don't.
You're better at it than I am. I can't do it.
Well, one of the best thing from the first hour was I have too much mojo and my pipes just couldn't handle it.
Ah.
That's why. Right. Yeah. Apparently, you missed that part.
I did miss that part. Damn it!
Oh my God, that was great.
Yeah, I said, okay, I'm going for a surgery in what is it? When is it? I'm going for surgery in 3 weeks, and it's my prostate, right? And couldn't figure out. And someone said, well, why does anybody know why it happens to some guys and it doesn't happen to others? I'm like, yeah, too much mojo. The pipes couldn't take it.
Well, you are a Scorpio, so
That's great.
Oh, what can I say, baby?
That's right.
But that was a high point at the first hour. That was funny.
So are you still going to be able to go to the Bigfoot conference?
Yes. Because the Bigfoot conference is
July
the 26th July 26th, and they gave me a 1 week recovery time before I can like lift 20 pounds again, and that's 2 weeks before, or
You're
almost.
gonna have to sit.
What?
Nothing. They said you're gonna have to sit.
Well, yeah.
20 pounds. Wow, that's not very much.
What? Oh yeah, 20 pounds. But yeah,
all kidding aside, I mean that's gonna that recovery will probably happen pretty quick.
yeah. As long as you're not looking at WebMD, because and all the internet says the worst that could happen, and I'm like, oh my god, I think that's part of what pushed me over to being in the dark side.
My dad had surgery, and he was out the next day. He had the robotic surgery in Michigan.
Okay.
And he was just in for the night, and then the next day he was out the door.
And Raven, did you hear the good news about work?
You didn't hear that? Oh well, let me go ahead and tell you what's up. Right?
Oh.
I got a text, hey, from my manager, hey, call me. It's nothing bad. And I'm in my head, I'm thinking it's always something bad. I call, and in short, they want me to fly to Dallas and help them set up an office at their new facility as a manager. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah.
Awesome.
They'll fly me over. They'll hook me up with a car, hook me up with a hotel, I think per diem, and hook me up with expenses. So,
yeah.
So
yeah,
are you going to stay there?
A week and a half only. I'm not moving. I'm not to Dallas. I've been through Dallas. Don't love to visit. Don't want to stay there. Right?
Yeah.
It has a peculiar odor.
Yeah, it also has the craziest interstates I've ever seen outside of Atlanta.
I'll vouch for that. I've been through there.
Yeah, I've been there. Had to spend the night there. It was, it's a vibe. There's a vibe to it, you know.
Yeah,
I didn't vibe well with it myself, but.
Someday we have just got to talk, or something. I don't know. I'd move.
Yeah,
got me stuttering over here.
Aussie is reminding. It's coffee time. I've been out of coffee, and it's time for me. I started a new brew, so I'll be back.
Okay.
Watch for ghosts. Watch for aliens and giant falling trees.
Okay.
Okay.
Sarah says, "I'm from Dallas. Stay away." Laugh out loud.
I don't know. You know, I always figure, you know, Albuquerque's a rough town, and so is Cruces is kind of your bedroom community, you know. But the rest of it, I have noticed. El Paso is a rough town.
Oh, I bet so. It's border town.
Well, they never got over the Wild West. They just didn't.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You know, maybe it's just me, but I figure that they just you know have gotten worse over time. And bigger a city gets, I think they just can't mind the store as well. You kind of live in a quasi rural area.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm not very far from East St. Louis. I mean, if you went out at the end of my road and look to the left, you can see the St. Louis Arch.
Uh-huh.
And where I go to get all the food for the cast is in East St. Louis. And it was the #1 murder capital city of the United States for a while. I think it's now it never leaves the top 5. Let's just put it that way. And my car overheated a couple weeks ago in East St. Louis, of course. Oh, yeah, it was a story. But
I'll bet that
obviously I lived and it was okay. But I had gotten lost the first time I was down here. Stopped at a gas station, and I noticed that the gas station attendants were locked inside this little booth, and there were bars on the outside. I'm like,
yeah, isn't that shocking?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then I get up there,
I saw that 27 years ago.
You're like, what are you doing? Small white girl out here, get back in your car. Are you crazy? I'm like, apparently, I'm lost. Yeah, you are. You get in your car and drive around here. I mean, they had everything driving through. If you wanted cigarettes or whatever, you had to, a second, like at the bank. Yeah, and scared me to death. But anyway, yeah, East St. Louis is. In fact, Missouri called a state of emergency yesterday in anticipation of riots and stuff.
Well,
that Floyd case really triggered a bunch of stuff, and they had people on the freeway blocking all routes into the city, and
and of course the big hoo-ha in L.A. And,
I know the pictures. I'm like, who? That's Los Angeles. That looks like a third world country.
Was East LA? Yeah, it is.
I mean,
no.
I just got so upset and sad when I saw that, and I'm like, this is not my country. I don't, it's very upsetting.
It is now, honey.
I know.
I know. It's very distressing. Just to see stuff, and we're not going to talk about politics, folks, so don't even start.
Yeah.
But the big thing is, if you don't know anything about self-protection, find out whether it's the big bang bang or if it's a hands-on approach. And believe me, both are very effective. I think I told you the other day about my little adventures in St. Louis, and I was scared enough to be deadly, because if I wasn't, wouldn't anybody come into my rescue?
I've been in that bus station before. I know. I used to ride the bus back and forth to Indiana. Yeah. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Scary place.
It was. And can you imagine being two elderly folks and have to use a bus and have to be sitting there and have a bunch of gangbangers try to shake you down? Some crazy woman with a stick. Besides, that's not happening today.
Thank God save them.
I probably wouldn't have done anything at all about it, but damn, they look like my grandparents, because they were all set, just hand them a wallet, go about their business, and I'm like, I ain't happy about that. I really wasn't. But it's all of the cities now. It isn't just a couple of the big metropolises,
Yeah.
What did I walk into? What?
Oh, we were talking about the craziness in the cities right now.
Yeah. No ghosts. Nothing moved. Didn't see anything.
Nothing moved this time?
Nothing
this time? Okay. Yeah.
Didn't see anything. It's kind of staring at it.
Yeah, well, okay. It happens when it happens. But
we're mostly remarking on Dallas is not a good fit for you.
No.
Yeah.
Houston is much better.
Right.
Tennessee is perfect, but it's a compromise.
Well, that'll be a fun little escapade.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
So you're going to catch some Dallas nightlife, do some line dancing, and put it on YouTube for us?
No line dancing.
No?
No.
Oh,
no.
Why not?
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
You got to,
Well, yeah, but we'll see what happens. I'm also not going to go do meth like the locals. So.
Well, okay.
But I might.
Oh, well, we've been put in our place, haven't we?
I might buy boots. I don't know. I might buy some boots.
Probably cheaper if you bring your own.
Yeah.
Do you have cowboy boots?
Get some.
I do not. So that's a good opportunity to pick some up.
I would caution you not to wear the pink cowboy hats.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, poor Nathan. I'm picking on him. I'll leave him alone.
Get along, little doggies. Oh, yeah. Keeping it warm in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, yeah. Wear that pink hat. Yeah, that would go over.
Oh, that'll make an impression, all right.
Yeah.
Might get a discount on the boots.
Just got a sign. Don't do that. Something fell, so not going to do that.
I'll bet you did. She probably hit you over the back of the head with a frying pan, too.
Yeah. Oh, blue. Totally different kind of meth. Totally different kind. Totally different kind.
Oh my God. Nathan, if you threw us all out, I wouldn't blame you. Especially me.
I can't throw nobody out. Yeah, but I'm going to go there, and I don't know if I'll have a roommate or not, because there's two of us going. I know we'll probably end up, they're getting us a rental car, so I know we'll probably end up sharing the car, whatever. He's older, so maybe he needs the car. I'll just walk, right? I don't care. And
it depends on where it is and how far it is to where you're going.
Oh, yeah, well, if I'm not at work, it's going to be like a 10-hour day, right? If I'm not at work, I'm going to start from hotel. And, oh, yeah, I will be keeping my eyes open for all the weird stuff. And I'm bringing my own weird stuff, too. Because I said it in the first hour, when I make a cup of coffee, it's like freaking potions class in Harry Potter.
It's a process.
Yeah, he's not going to know. He's not going to know, like, whatever. But, yeah, I'm going to be taking the quantum with me, and he's going to freak out. Oh, the hotel room's haunted. I'm like, no, it's Sabrina. It's okay.
Oh, they may have
better yet take the matron with you, and it will be haunted.
She don't want to go nowhere. She don't want to go. No. Zena's the one, she likes to knock stuff over. She does. But it's like, But
I think a real cowboy hat and boots would suit you all right.
I'll give it a shot. Why not? I'm not going to spend like $200 on a hat. Boots maybe, but not on a hat. I want military tread though on the boots. I want military tread.
Combat boots, huh?
Something tough. Combat cowboy boots. Hell yeah. But
like Danners or something.
I don't know. Yeah, they make them. I've seen them.
Yeah.
Or do you just take the sole off of a combat boot and plaster it onto the cowboy?
I think that's actually what they did. Go ahead, Tim.
It's basically what they do. They wear Stetsons. The cav.
Yep. Yeah, cab shoe. Yeah, sure.
I was in Dallas for a business show, for a trade show, actually, for business, and my boss got held up in the parking garage of the hotel.
Uh-huh.
And because I kept wondering, what the hell is taking him so long? He forgot something down in the rental car that we needed, and about almost an hour later, he finally got to where we were there in the conference room, and yeah, he got held up, robbed at the hotel, and we were staying at a nice hotel, so it's like,
where was this?
You know,
Dallas.
Where was it? In Dallas?
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, yeah.
Downtown.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Be careful. You know, have your wits about you at all times, and just, you know.
Yeah.
I know I'm not telling you anything new, Nathan. You know how to take care
now
of yourself.
You know how to take care of
this
yourself.
back with me, and you know what? I know how to use this. I know how to use it.
I'll send you my pepper spray since I can't seem to spray anything except myself.
I'll be all right.
That took talent.
I know, right?
And don't think I'm teasing either, because
it's okay if you do, because I mean, what kind of a moron am I, right?
No, honey, I busted myself in the face with nunchucks one day and split my head open. So, believe me, you're not alone.
Thank you.
These days, just don't carry more cash than you want people to take.
Right. Yeah.
That's a lot of it right there.
I'm not going to be carrying.
I
barely use cash. Barely.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm living Star Trek. We don't use money. Well, we do, but I use the card all the time.
Stetsons are. I got Storm a Stetson, and like he needs more height, right? And I think that thing cost me like $50. Now this has been 10 years ago, but it was a very nice hat. It fit him, which was a surprise. And I said, yeah, for change, let's just do that. But they are expensive. Holy cow, are they expensive. I don't think that one was especially, but I don't think it was top drawer either.
I have a question about Texas. Why is it that NASA has their headquarters there, like at Houston, yet the launch pads are always done in Florida? Why are they not in the same location? Does anybody know?
I don't know. I just know that there's a space place in Florida because that's where the hot zone is because of Atlantis down there.
Well, that's part of it.
That's where that's where they launch. But when they're in contact, Houston, we have a problem, right?
Right.
Well, there's a landing area near here in White Sands Missile Range for space. Space. They do that here because our atmosphere is extraordinarily thin. Okay, it's like the amount of atmosphere that they have to go through is very, very small, and they can
anywhere
project it. What's that?
Even here, Tim.
Yeah.
Take it, Tim.
Oh, watch out! Smoking outside the hotels, crackheads will swarm you. In Dallas, in Portland, in any major city, Fort Smith, Arkansas, the crackheads will fucking swarm you if you smoke outside. Don't smoke outside if you smoke.
Where are you supposed to?
Bathroom.
I don't know where.
At
whenever
home, in your vehicle, anywhere that's safer than.
Well, they have smoking rooms in some hotels.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm going to look up a stun baton right now. I call it a stun baton.
A taser. A taser.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not looking to stun anybody that grabs me.
I wish I
but you're a black belt. You can just
It's not quite that simple, Raven. And this is something that most martial artists won't say, but I figure, given that I'm 5 foot nothing, unless I'm in heels and then 5'2", okay, at that point I realize that yes, I'm going to take a hell of a beating. I know how to take a hell of a beating. I also know how to dish one out. But we're both going to be laying on the floor saying, oh my God, did I really do that? Okay. And I have had to do it. So it's just, it's a trade-off, Thing is to hit fast and run like hell. That's the first rule of martial arts. Don't be there. It's actually one of the things that I teach first. Learn not to be there. Don't go into an alley.
No.
Don't go out front and meet up with the crackheads. You know, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Half of that is not being where you're going to get accosted.
No.
Particularly
Right.
women. We are, strength-wise, the only thing a woman has on a guy is the surprise. Surprise the hell out of him and get out of Dodge. You know?
Yeah. Pass out exploding cigarettes.
Oh, that sounds entertaining. Then
Oh
run
my
like
God,
hell.
it's so funny. It's so funny.
This is not the one I want. I tried to make one of those one time. It did not go well because I've tried to put like the circuit from a instant camera. It didn't work out. I kept shocking myself. But I tried to make one. But I tried to make one like different. So I gave up on that particular attempt. This is a shock baton. Riot Control First Order shock baton from Star Wars. And it's like, I would love to have something like that where it extends and like has a freaking Jacob's ladder going beside it. Oh, it would be awesome. Jacob's ladder shock baton.
Interesting.
I would tell you, and this is from having been in Chicago for several months, don't give any charity. I don't like saying that, but if you give one person charity, you will be swarmed.
You mean
Charity.
out there?
A handful of change or some other shit.
You know,
Just don't. Hurry on your way. Because you don't know the town, you don't know who's in there, and you don't know who just robbed you.
this is more than my speed.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. I could do something like that. It's a cool $220 less than the wall hanger.
Yeah.
So it's $45. I can probably swing that.
Those stun guns, I was looking at one also, and ad showed that it will arc out in front of you 10, 20 feet. It showed
Right.
this woman hitting a couple dogs with it. But in reality, you have to touch them with it to get that.
Yeah, it just makes a loud cracking noise.
It doesn't shoot out. And that's
Right.
what I want is for these raccoons is to get something that shoots out about 10 feet.
Yeah, you don't want to get close enough for them to bite you.
No,
Dude,
hell
you're
no.
wanting a full-on taser system, right, Raven?
Yeah, I want some
With the wires attached.
I'm
something.
going to stop making cracks for even come after me.
I'd say you need a Jacob's ladder shocker so they can
I
see.
need something because they're held her up in the attic now. They've got a hole in the roof, and now they're in my attic. And usually at nighttime, they're up here running back and forth. You can hear them, but they're not out there right now.
Well, they're nocturnal.
Yeah, they'll probably be running around here soon. And they just they look over the edge of the roof. They look down at me,
You're talking about me?
bastards. So I get the garden hose and I give them a bath and blast them with that, but that's about all I can do.
Their
Their fur is so thick that the BB gun nor the air rifle will phase them. They don't even feel it, I don't think.
Maybe it's time for a paintball.
Ooh,
Maybe it's
that's
time for a
interesting.
paintball gun.
Yeah.
Pepperball.
that.
Pepperball gun.
Paintball.
Oh, you're wicked. I like you a lot.
Yeah, put paintball gun.
Okay.
Or
Put
just
some nails in it.
Huh?
Put some nails in it too.
No, don't do that. You just want them to go away. You know?
Yeah, you just want to, I do, but I'm afraid that they might enjoy the paintball. Hey, look, I'm
You're not going to give them a rifle. You're going to give them the balls.
Yeah, I know, but they might. I mean, their skin, their fur is so thick. I mean, it's going to have to pack a hell of a punch for them to even feel it.
Oh, it does. And
does.
it sticks to them. That's the thing. It's goopy liquid.
Yeah. So they'll
So-
look really interesting.
Yeah, get
Alien
your paintball
raccoons.
gun with
You're gonna have a
neon.
whole bunch of people out front with picket signs saying Raven is cruel to the wildlife.
Well, then you come and get them and take them home to your place. There are some
No,
people.
thanks.
There's a whole Facebook group of people that have them as pets, like cats, and they sleep with them. They let them run to the house. They, you know, everything.
And I understand it, but you know, and again, most people don't understand this. They do go back to being feral.
Yeah,
they will be domestic for years, and then one day they just flip, you know, and away they go.
Yeah,
come home,
right.
Couch tore up.
Haunted house. That's probably what will happen. The ones that I miss, I'll have to clean off my house. God knows how many times.
Well, usually raccoons are cute and cuddly and will be your buddy until about year 2 after they go through their frickin' puberty cycle.
And now we're
and then they become killers that have little claws and understand the human world now.
That's when you have to.
Yeah. All you got to do is look at over the hedge.
And then you enlist a possum guardian. Then you get your possum guardian going because the possum. Have you ever seen Alice? The videos of Alice and her possum. Mm-hmm. Holy shit! She walks in the house with a possum. It's a full-grown possum, and Alice and her mom is saying, "Alice, what are you doing? He's mine now." Possum is just chilling, going. Yeah, he ran across my legs, and I got him. He's mine now. I like that. And this possum is just like.
I would venture to say at this point, I have several recipes for possum stew.
Oh God, they're not. I miss Hobart. Hobart was my possum that came around every night, and he'd come out here and eat the cat food. And one time he would come in the house. He would just mosey in the house. And one day I'm sitting there at my desk and I feel something rub against my leg, and I thought it was a cat, of course. And I just
you were on the air when that happened.
Yeah, I remember that.
You were here.
I reached down and then I looked down to that. Oh my God, he's lost a lot of hair. What? You know.
That happened live on the Quantum Show. It was like this. This is almost exactly what happened. Watch. Yeah, cats and Kathy. Oh.
Oh my God.
Like 15 minutes. I remember. It's like
crazy.
The camera shook and everything.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Oh, it was hilarious. And then it took a tumble too, didn't it?
And then I had to tell you about possums.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Flipping out.
They're good.
Possums
of all the animal kingdom, possum. You know what? When people say the world's going to the dogs, no, the world's going to the possums. Who's going to be here? Possums. They have huge litters. They don't make enemies. Nothing eats them. Not really.
They don't transmit rabies.
They are antibacterial. So,
we'll say almost never, because it is almost never.
They're just nature's ugly kittens.
It would happen. It can happen.
It's just too bad that they're
so damn
ugly. That tail is just ugly. They're cute when they're little. They're really cute. They're black and white. They almost look like a skunk when they're little. I've seen a few of those, but
I like skunks.
And they just all those teeth. I've had one hiss at me before. One in the garage that tried to eat that kitten when I did smack him with the broom a few times. So, he hissed at me. But anyway, Hobart was really cool. And I don't know what happened to Hobart. Oh, that's funny.
They're omnivores. They're scavengers.
Yeah. I hope I was so mellow, and I'd say, "Go on out," and he would just like, he just mosey on out. They'll use a litter box.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
They're very intelligent.
Yeah.
Yeah. To look at them, they're intimidating, but they're the most chill wild animal you'll ever meet.
They are. And I'm so glad that you were there to explain to me about them. And I had a whole new attitude towards them. And I get along with them great. I don't mind them around at all.
Yeah, they'll eat all the bad things. They'll eat all the bugs. You will not have ticks. There'll be no ticks in the yard. They're the only ones that one up possums as far as eating bugs are chickens. And they're much more maintenance. They're much higher maintenance than possums.
Oh, yeah.
Possums take care of themselves.
Yeah.
Nature's kitten. Tim said it.
They're okay. They look entirely too much like rats to suit me.
Yeah,
that's a lot of it for me. Why I don't care for them.
Okay.
I don't like groundhogs either. Those guys are dangerous.
They're mean.
Yeah.
They're mean. Groundhogs are mean.
I don't mind eating a groundhog.
Yeah, that reminds me of the time at work. There was a raccoon running around. Because we got, why it reminds us, we got a giant groundhog that lives across the street. He's got a burrow across the street. And he runs up the raccoons. And the raccoons come over to our place. And this really big raccoon was seen onto the property. They called animal control, and they came out there like they were hunting ET. I was like, y'all, it's a raccoon, and this is Tennessee. What do you want? It's just going to happen. And raccoons live on our property now. It's all good.
Yeah.
On the company property. And they hang out at this shed thing that we got because they want to get out of the rain just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Stupid me carrying paperwork through the rain, stacking it like wet napkins because that's my work, I guess. But yeah, and just like this guy, and they made a special trip over to my office. Coming, Nathan, be careful. There's a raccoon, and he could have rabies. I'm like, hold on a second. And I looked up raccoons and rabies in Nashville, Tennessee. Raccoons are too bougie now to get rabies. They're like ordering DoorDash.
Yeah.
There hasn't been, it's like 1 in 7,000 cases of any kind of fight just because that stupid TikTok video. One raccoon out in the woods had rabies and attacked somebody. Now
it probably didn't. It was probably had kittens and didn't want anybody coming near them.
Well, maybe, but no one knew. And, well, it did hurt this little girl.
Oh, that's different.
It did. Yeah, there was a video on somebody's...
There's a raccoon right there. If I can turn around. Come here. You the young one. Come here.
Yeah, don't bring him on screen.
Oh.
It's okay.
Here.
Mama's around somewhere.
He'll eat my hand. He's a little one.
Be careful. Mama's around somewhere.
Oh, yeah, her big fat ass. She's probably up on the roof.
She won't like it if you mess with her kids.
Yeah,
if you think human beings are Karens, damn.
Yeah. He's a real cat food now.
I'm just not a big fan of any mammal with hands.
Who is it? You aren't?
No, I mean raccoons, possums, rats, hamsters. I mean, I've had them, but all of these different animals growing up, but all the ones that have hands end up getting in trouble or getting you in trouble, which is even worse.
Like that one that borrowed your screwdriver, never gave it back, bastard. They took her. They. I'm joking, but they took her a shop vac.
Oh yeah, they took my shop vac. I have it on. I was videotaping the whole thing.
They had the cleanest
in the yard, and I left it, and then the next day it was gone. They
cleanest den ever, but the power bill went up a little bit. Oh well.
Can you imagine people trying to keep monkeys without a license?
Oh, jeez. Yeah,
You
that's
know,
what it feels
that
like.
I
can
can't
try to-
imagine keeping them
That
with
is-
a
Now
license.
that's
like that.
a bad idea.
Yeah, that's a really
That's
bad
bad,
idea.
especially than people with raccoon or with orangutans. Oh my god.
I watched my ex one day out. I didn't even watch him. I was doing dishes, minding my own business, and he was out there and he was humming to himself, having a great time. My ex is a little strange. He's a Marine, and anyway, he's out there, and I said, "What you doing, Minnie?" And he goes, I'm feeding a raccoon, okay. And he calls in, I'm feeding a possum now. And then I heard, oh shit. And I said, Mama's come along with her babies? He goes, uh-huh. I said, you better come across, she's gonna be pissed. I said, have good luck with that. I'm going to close the door now. And if you get sprayed, don't you dare bring that in my house.
You know what, Tim?
Oh.
You said people with monkeys. Can you imagine people with monkeys? And that rung a bell. A rhesus monkey. They're illegal to own, right? I think they're illegal to own. I'm not sure. You got to have a special license for any of these animals.
Yeah.
But it seems like there was a cryptid sighting. They said they saw a fairy, and I looked at it. No, it was a fever-ridden rhesus monkey in a tree.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I'm like, how can y'all people say this is an elf or a fairy? Look at it. Just look at it. It wasn't even that blurry. It looked like it, yeah, he was walking, but they do that. They do that, especially one that has been with humans. And then he didn't have a little fairy house. He didn't have like sparkles shooting out of his ears. No, it was
No, but he made a little habitation that is human-like and scary to a human because it's miniature, right?
right. Well, this thing was a rhesus monkey that apparently had a fever because it was moving. They're quick movers. It was moving very slow, and it was kind of walking around on top of like a rock and a branch, and it went and walked away. And I was like, that's a rhesus monkey. I debunked it right then and there because it had the same markings as and people were going, well, it's walking upright. I'm like, no, it isn't. It's walking because it's not feeling good.
Mm-hmm. I need to check something. I'll be right back. Hang on.
Okay.
We had a housemate once upon a time who was looking at, I can't remember what it was. It was something small. I think it was a cat or something, and a fairy ring, because those are real. You know, the mushrooms in a circle.
The fairy rings.
And then things moving, and she's raising this shitstorm over it. And I went out and I looked at it, and I looked at her and I said, you need to stop smoking that shit. And walked back to the house, right? And she was furious at me, of course, you know. And she said, this is a fairy ring. It was a fairy. I know it was. And I'm like, are you crazy? I said, fairies don't look like a cat. They just don't. I said, try again. And I said, fairies are not small. They're huge. They're very tall, as a matter of fact. So read any of the backstories for fairies, you'll know what I'm talking about. Now,
I know what you're
elves and
talking about.
pixies are small.
Yeah.
Right.
When dude came out, and we investigated the cemetery back there, he caught something on camera. I don't have the picture now. Shingoji. He used to live here. And he caught something on camera that we still can't debunk. I wish I could find the picture. But it looked like a pixie. it looked a lot like a pixie because yeah, there were lots of bugs. We found a lot of bugs. We debunked a lot of bugs. He was videotaping, I was videoing, and we both had our stuff going. He got this thing. It was glowing, and it wasn't. We didn't remember seeing anything. We saw moths and bees. This wasn't any of those things. I wish I had the picture. He doesn't come to the show very often. He's got things going on. He's probably at work right now. I don't know. But yeah, he caught something right over here. And of all places, this is one of the best places to catch something like that. Cemeteries are portal places.
Yeah.
Oh, well, cemeteries are portal places. Like naturally.
Yeah.
It's just it's what it's their function is to be a portal from here to wherever. And
I was watching your program earlier, your little short. Well, it wasn't a short, it was the video, I mean.
When I went out to the tree?
Yeah. And I was thinking at the time, this place is so quiet and so removed that it can be quite haunted. And of course, I know it's haunted, you said so. And I take your word over some people's facts. And, I looked at the cemetery itself, and you had made the comment that they were thinking about lying down the stones.
Mm-hmm.
God, I hope they don't do that.
I hope not
Truly,
either. That
hope
is
not.
desecration. That is straight up desecration.
It is, and it's going to piss your spooks off a lot. I mean, stuff like a falling tree ain't gonna be nothing compared to a bunch of
No,
angry.
that's just a tree. That's They're farmers. They know about trees falling in the woods. Happens
that
all
don't bother them. But they don't like it when somebody starts horsing around with their grave.
Right. Yeah. They say because it's too much maintenance. You know what? If you want a haunted forest, that's how you get a haunted forest. There's very few ways. Messing with a graveyard is one. You don't do that. That's how you get all the ghost stuff. You get the hitchhiker effect. You get the poltergeist going around. That's how maybe not that, but you get all the anger and all the energy coming up because hey, I can't do it all, right?
I think you do kind of get some of the poltergeist thing. All you gotta do is get a teenager and get a writer. You know what I'm saying?
Teenager and a writer.
Poltergeist writer. Somebody that's ticked off at what's going on in that cemetery and rides home with the teenager.
Oh, the hitchhiker effect. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Hitchhiker effect. That's what that is. That's exactly what that is. Hitchhiker effect.
There was a cemetery up the street from where I lived as a kid, farm, and it was a family plot, and somebody had gone in there and had a party. There was all kinds of party supplies, if you know what I mean. And I cleaned that up real good. They had knocked a stone over. Now, being who I am, I could feel the anger and hostility off of that cemetery plot. They were ticked. It was ticked enough that the farmer that owned the land kept it away from anywhere near there, about 6-10 feet. And but I cleaned it up and I re-blessed it and said, "I'm sorry you were disturbed. We'll do the best we can from here." And it got nice and mellow, and there was no more trouble. So that's not exercising a plot; it's reconsecrating it.
Yeah, it's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
Exercising is one thing. We could go all night about that, but consecration.
Boy, could we?
Yeah, consecration. That's something else. That's something, and it's very white lighty. It's not. It's very light side of the everything.
Well, exorcism can be quite violent, and it can be hostile. Obviously, I mean, you're trying to send somebody to by and by that may not be so sweet,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a certain amount of hostility from both parties doing that. Where a
Sure.
consecration, as long as it's a decent person buried, and you're a decent person, should go like oil,
Yeah. Samo.
healing it.
Yeah, Samo was referring to Nathan. You also mentioned not nice to drop a gravestone on its face, especially because if the person just doesn't want to maintain it, give me a break. How hard is it to maintain a gravestone? It's not hard.
Right here.
You go out with soap and water. You have a flower watering can and soap in a water in a bucket. You scrub it down a little bit, or even if you want to go all hoity-toity, get you an Amazon power sprayer from DeWalt. Go out there and spray the stones down.
I don't think I would do that with some of the older ones.
Well,
but,
maybe
that's what I was thinking.
Huh?
You might awaken something that you don't want to take home.
Yeah, really.
Power sprayer, no power.
Being you walk up and say, "Hey, I'm here to take care of your grave. I would appreciate being allowed to do that. Is that all right with you?" Wait a little bit.
Yeah, right.
If you get a sign that says "Get thee gone," I suggest you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now I've seen people go out with power sprayers and spray off, gravestones just to clean them up and keep them clean. And they do a pretty good job maintaining this thing over here. But these church people, they say it's too expensive to do anything. I'm like, no, this is baseline stuff. This is you're claiming to be a church. You got to be a church, and you're claiming this is y'all's church. You got to own it.
Yeah,
stuff happens. You got to own it.
Well,
like
it's
if I
part of
claim
the churchyard, isn't it?
it is part of the churchyard,
and they have obligation to.
I was just wondering where the responsibility lays in a community like mine, that there's more graves than there are citizens.
That's a good question.
I mean, there's like more grave sites here, good 2 or 3 times over the amount of citizens that live here now. And I see run graves all the time, and I didn't know that wasn't a thing until I got much older. Just, we call them pioneer cemeteries. There's other words for them, but they're crude.
Yeah, you could call this a pioneer cemetery, but it's more a revolution.
Yeah,
because it was well after the pioneering times.
Yeah.
Well, we have a cemetery, about 6-10 blocks from us, and it's the 3 crosses. You know what I'm talking about. And the city takes care of that because there's 3 crosses. It is lit up with Christmas lights of all things, and but the actual graves themselves are a very, very small plot. They call Las Cruces 3 crosses, and it's a burial site for pioneers, people who lost their lives during an Indian ambush. The Rio Camino, the trail runs past my house 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 4 blocks down. So, you look at that sort of stuff, nobody bothers that cemetery. Nobody. I mean, nobody graffitis the wall that holds the ground back from the highway. Nobody bothers that cemetery. There's a good reason for it. because there are Apaches buried there too, and those guys come after you.
Yeah, what is that with the Native Americans and the sanctity of burial place? Really?
That goes way back to European.
Yeah, that's an old story, and that's that they'll take your land type thing. That's an old story because I mean it was genocidal when the Europeans came over. It wasn't we're moving in and we're edging you out. No, it was genocidal. That's what those are blood curses and like deep to the bone magic, not just
you're talking Aboriginal magic. You're talking original to the land.
Yeah, and that's why I want to go to Fort Blunt, slightly East Tennessee up here, and just go walk around. No one will work out there. No one will build out there. They've tried for decades. Actually, they've tried for 200 years, and no one will work. I want to go out there. I try to get my buddy with a Tesla because he's got the stuff in the dashboard where it's got a people detector, right? Mm-hmm. And it shows where people are standing. I've tried to get him to go out there. I've tried to get him to go to the cemetery. He won't go because he's a big wuss.
This sounds like he's a big believer.
Yeah, he will swear to God I'm crazy for doing anything with ghosts, but he won't do anything to disprove it. I'm like, okay, okay, buddy.
How far away is it?
Fort Blunt is 45 minutes from here. Just a quick trip on the interstate, not far.
All right,
but and the National Cemetery is even closer. The Veterans Cemetery, it's even closer. Just go in, take some pennies to the Veterans Cemetery. So if y'all don't know, a penny to a veteran from a veteran to a passed away, it's a kind of a tradition. I visited, penny is I visited someone. Nickel is I served with someone at the same time. Quarter is I was there with them in the unit when they died with them.
I didn't know that.
How that works.
Okay.
So I'll take a bunch of pennies and I'll go out there as it's like an homage, right? It's like a little offering.
Yeah.
And it works. That's quantum level magic right there. That's quantum level. That is baseline quantum level magic. Like every time I go into that,
gone on for years upon years.
Yeah, that is. Since the river Styx. Let me come. That's kind of where ancient Greece. Yeah, I'd say years and years. Millennia.
Pennies on the eyes. Pay the boatman.
Yeah, right. And that's just kind of like me paying my way to deliver a text message or something, whatever. It's quantum level stuff. I mean, that is like, Harry Potter old magic stuff.
There's also traditions in different religions about leaving money on top of graves. I just wouldn't mess with a grave that has money on it in general. It's
important.
Right. In this area,
you don't take it. It's theirs.
Go ahead.
It's for the groundsman to take care of. Because you know what? People who work cemeteries, maintain them, and the cemetery grounds people, they will not talk about it. Yeah, they won't talk about it. They have a relationship with the other side. They won't talk about it, but the people who can't cut it don't work there, right? They have a relationship with the other side. All the stuff I remember watching something where people who leave little toys, offerings of any kind, they have to pick that stuff up, right?
I knew a girl who collected their flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Just a few at first, but over time they became bouquets that she donated back to them. It's weird. They have weird relationships out there.
Yeah, and it is real.
One of the. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
One of the things I was taught as a little kid, and my mother was from the era, from the age. My grandparents were from the era and the age where you would take a picnic on Memorial Day and make a day of it and clean graves. And you cleaned your own people's graves. And if there was anybody nearby who no one came for, you cleaned those too. And I went to take a flower from a bouquet. I was probably, golly, 5, 6 years old maybe. And my mother smacked my hand, made me take that back. And I said, why? I said, they left it lay on the ground. She goes, Sugar, she says, you take something from a graveyard, you will bring it back in the form of one of your loved ones. You leave that stuff alone.
Yeah.
I remember doing that with my grandparents, now that you mention it.
I went on until I was well in my teens.
Watched the stones and stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah. So, and people die out or move or that, and the grave is left behind.
Every property I've lived on in Tennessee after Nashville the first time, and now has had a graveyard on it.
Really?
Every one. Yep. After I moved to Texas for Fort Bliss and came back, every single one of them. Even and before Tennessee, when I was a teenager, we had 2 properties in high school. One was in Pleasant Shade. Remember that, Tim? You made fun of me. You live in a place called Pleasant Shade. I'm like, yep. And it had a cemetery on it. No one knew. And then another place not far from there in Elmwood, Tennessee. We bought the place. Check, this is a funny story, right? We bought the place. It had been foreclosed on, and it was an abandoned everything farm, right? They were logging in the woods, and there was crops behind the house and in front of the house at some point. But here's what. My mom didn't walk the property, right? Well, she got 3 teenage kids. We went all over that place. And in the wood line, in the wood line, we found gravestones. And we're like, what is this? And they weren't embedded. They were like placed there, like pushed to the side. And we're like, what's going on here? We didn't do this, okay? We didn't put them there. And she went years later, right? We didn't know what was going on. But we found out that the crop land in the back right behind the house, I'm talking like 20 feet, right? It was a cemetery. And and they had and gone over it.
They moved the stones and didn't bother to move the graves?
Yeah, exactly. And Tim, what did you say?
Yeah. Okay, so similar thing. My best friend and my grandparents lived right next door to my best friend, and her house was a cemetery. And in the yard, you'd see where they just snapped off the headstones and hauled them away. And there were all these, things. And on the side of the house, there was one that was left. It was cracked in half, but they just kind of laid it up against the house. And there was like an alley, and my grandparents were on one side of that alley, and Anne was on the other side of the alley. Well, this was of a tombstone of a girl that was 18 that died, and presumably died there at the house. But they left her tombstone. I saw that ghost one day in her basement. I saw this chick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Victorian white, frilly, like almost like a nightgown type looking thing. Yeah, scared me to death. Just absolutely scared me to death. She didn't believe me. She thought I was just trying to spook her out. But a lot of times that's what they did. They did not move the bodies. They just moved the headstones.
I think they made a whole movie about that. Tim, what were you going to say?
Yeah,
Poltergeist.
Poltergeist, yeah. But what were you going to say?
Oh, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that the dead have so little rights.
They have no rights.
None.
Yeah.
None.
There's
And
there's
from
there's
culture to
communities
culture,
that don't. I'm sorry.
from culture to culture, you might have to even like rent a place for your ancestors to stay. You know, they're still burning you even after. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in South
No.
America, I think they do that in Argentina. I think it's Argentina. I thought it was Argentina.
There's a
I'm
lot
not
of
sure.
different burial customs over the planet. That's for sure.
Yeah, I should have. There was a cemetery right in the middle of. I went to visit Leslie, and there was a cemetery at. What's that? I went to the ocean. The only time I've ever been to the ocean, I don't want to go back to that part. Whatever. Galveston. I was in Galveston. Cemetery.
Okay, the Gulf.
Old. You're right. It was a Gulf. It was Gulf. And by the way, dirty. Don't go there. Do not recommend. Etsy, or not Etsy, but Yelp bad review. But there was a cemetery there that it had stuff going all the way back, like these guys, like 1600s. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one smack dab in the middle of Boston like that. Just right there in the industrial section, not far from where the Boston Tea Party was held.
Yeah, this place is like
trip. We're going along, and then all of a sudden, there's this little cemetery, like a half a city block, all fenced in. And I said, "Oh God, can I take a couple minutes to go check this out?" And the dates on there were like 1690 something, whatever. And I'm thinking, "Oh my gosh, this wasn't even called America at that point in time." These were like pilgrims. These were like some of the first generation past the Mayflower and shit. So it's like, wow.
Well, with New Orleans comes to mind. Everything is buried above ground. It's all mausoleum. They don't bury below ground because they won't stay there. And what they do, they will put them in there for like a year and a day. And then, given the kind of atmosphere and heat and humidity they have there, the decomposition works faster, and a year later they'll push those bones back to the back of the mausoleum and plug in the next guy.
Yeah, there's places like that in Florida too. There was, speaking of mausoleums, the show is practically over, by the way, but this is too cool. I watched this guy. He called himself Paranormal Security. Well, there was a guy. He was a security guard at a cemetery, private cemetery. And, okay, first of all, the guy himself, he was not a nice person. Okay? He was not a nice person. I tried to, he was running on TikTok, not YouTube. And the TikTok crowd, they filed in, right? Well, he got some of the best evidence ever. He's gone, he got some of the best evidence, I mean, ever. This was a very well-developed cemetery, right? This was not, it was super old, but it was also, they had like chapels and mausoleums, lights and locking doors. And there was this one that was like shaped like a cross, and you'd go in one and you'd hear a little kid talking, and he would go in with his flashlight. He's like, "Okay, little kid, where are you at? Come on out. You got to go home now. Where's your mom and dad?" There was nobody there, right? That was in that one building. He went into another building, and the lights would turn on and off, and he heard this big angry voice say, "Get out," screaming at him.
Was he able to get the footage of that?
Yeah.
Awesome.
You know what? Let me see if I can find him.
That's cool.
He was on Slapped Ham a few times.
God bless you.
There's a place called Sarcastica in Missouri. Oh my God.
I saw that.
I got to go there and get a T-shirt, man.
I was going to say, you know, like, I eat that stuff. So.
Oh, yeah. That's hilarious.
I've been trying to do better. Sort of. Kind of. Maybe not.
I'll get you a T-shirt, too.
Oh, yeah. That'd be great. Yeah, we know I see, but we're on a roll here, buddy.
Found it.
Cool.
Can Frank bring up a video?
I'm sure he could. I don't know where he is. Just give me a second, okay?
No, but I will go ahead and here's the link is in chat. So it's only about a minute long. This is a TikTok that was brought to YouTube, right? This is the paranormal security guy. He got kicked off of doing this because it's private. It's not a public.
Are you available?
I can hear her static.
I can too.
Okay. He says he'll play it, but give him about a minute.
Okay, no problem.
Cool.
Let me send in the link.
There's that couple that have the ghost. They have the alphabet letters on their
Ethel.
That's it. Yes, that is some funny stuff. There's this ghost Ethel, and she likes the wife. They bought the house from her or from her estate, one of the two. But anyway, she died. She didn't leave, and she loves to mess with this lady's husband. She's just awful.
Some things never change.
And he's talking about he brings home a Ouija board, right?
Oh,
and his wife says, "Get that out of here." Ethel does not like it. And there's a pair of scissors on the counter, and the scissors turn around and face him by themselves. There's like all kinds of shit that goes on all around them.
Sent it to Messenger.
There's just no way. I just can't see that there's any way that they have those things rigged up with wires or anything like that. They're just so, natural about everything. I don't think it's staged. Do you, Nathan?
I think it's all real.
I do too.
Much you can fake.
And he says, yeah, Ouija board is like 3 minutes for 3 minutes.
Free talk, 3 minutes for the other side or
3
something.
minutes from the other side.
They've got a fridge with letters.
Yeah. Those magnet letters like you do for kids. It's for the ghost.
These are millennials and almost Gen Z, and they've got magnetic letters on a whiteboard or something, and you can see it in one of the videos spelling out Ethel, but the second E is with a 3, and he actually sees it and says, "Oh, Ethel, that makes sense, Ethel," and then
how about that?
Here we go.
Oh my God.
Okay, we're about to have the paranormal security brought up, and I will go ahead and just watch the video. It's pretty good.
Okay.
Thanks, Storm. You got our backs. Thanks, man.
Thank you, Storm.
No problem. One of the things I'm good at.
I wish I could do it myself.
There we go.
What is going on?
Oh, wait a minute, Storm. Your face just came back up. Oh, there we go.
Go ahead.
This is Josh, a security guard. As he patrols the cemetery, he hears a girl call out to him in the vacant building.
Hey, in here. Hello? Yeah, but listen, you got to get out of here. You're going to have to come talk to me, okay? Where you at? I can't see you. You're correct. So you need to come out, okay? You guys hear this? This is broad daylight. I don't know where this kid is. Where are you? What is going on?
Okay. Yeah, that.
That's creepy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that. Just if you want to see all his videos, Paranormal Security, and I think he's on Rumble too. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Well, let's just. Yeah.
Oh my God, you don't know the great evidence that he caught. That was one. There was this one. He was walking outside the little chapel,
Thank you.
And he caught a picture of a kid. He didn't see a kid. And
I'm gonna write that down. Paranormal Security. Okay.
Yeah, maybe put a link in the bottom too.
I will. Okay.
That just sounds like it'd be a hoot to see.
Yeah.
And
rabbit hole that I think I would enjoy going down myself.
Did you guys actually hear the running and the little giggle?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my God!
Nuts.
So, what is the consensus here on child spirits? Now, I have read that, and mostly that they're not children. That the children automatically, the angels come get them and they cross them over. They don't leave them be ghosts.
It's the same. Kids are people, and it's us that we're attracted to help children. That the bad guys, I know who you're talking about, the bad spirits imitate children, but no, children get stuck here just like everybody.
You know, too,
Right?
sometimes children will have been raised by a narcissistic parent or somebody who's just plain evil, and they're trapped. They don't know they can get away. So I think that, if you come across one, as an empath, psychic medium, or something like that, it's really an obligation to try to help them get across if they're willing to go.
They might be too scared. I can see that.
Yeah.
It's dark. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if an angel appeared to me, even if I was a little girl, I've always known about angels. I would go with the angel.
Go ahead, Tim.
Hard one to take. Not everybody's religion or culture allows for a context for there to be an angel there.
That's true. You're right. I just thought of that too. Yeah.
So, depending on the cultural context of it, the child could just be stranded and needs something to come along that's not trying to feed on it.
Or that happens too.
But could it actually be like a shard of an adult? Like if you got soul fracture, if you had something traumatic happen to you when you were a kid, that part breaks off. And
I've never met a spirit that wasn't whole in its own right.
Really?
I never have. It doesn't mean it's not so. It means I haven't. Most of the time, I have met children who were stuck. And
how sad.
The proper thing to do is make friends with them. It takes time. And ask them, do you want to go ahead and meet up with your family and your siblings in that? In some cases, that child is terrified of the parent, and I understand that. I understand that better than most. But a lot of times, kids are raised in a religion or nothing. Oftentimes, too, they know nothing about the other side, so they're just scared of everything.
Mm-hmm.
There's one here.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. That's right. You have one there. So, how do you get them crossed over? What do you do, Lynn?
You make friends with them and ask them if they want to cross.
Some of them wouldn't
Some of them don't want to go.
know any different.
The one here stayed with Mom.
Yeah.
And Mom's here to make
Mom's a rough cookie too. Did you notice that?
Oh boy.
The idea of leaving me? Oh no, you're not.
Yeah.
That bond's very, very close between mothers and children, or fathers and children, and if that parent is still there, there's a lot of unresolved trauma. The only thing you can do is ask them if they wish to move on. If they don't, it's free will on the other side, same way it is here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what were you going to say, Tim?
You got to remember that the spirit is still a child. No matter how much time has gone by, it's still going to have the emotional capacity of a child, because it only had as much time as it had when it existed here to create its emotional context for its own death, is what we're talking about here. In my case, I think what happens is what you believe is going to happen to you happens. But in the case of a child, the child doesn't even have that as a belief. So certainly it's going to be trapped. Almost certainly things are going to try to feed on it in this abyss. And it's going to go for the strongest relationships that it can, whether those are relationships with the living or relationships with motherly guiding spirits or fatherly guiding spirits. It all depends on what put it in this traumatic place. What, did it die of an illness, or was it trauma or fratricide in this case?
Yeah. And one of the things we can look at, is the person who has discovered the soul, just very nearly has an obligation to pray for them. Pray for them to go to the light and to be rescued.
One thing that some ladies used to be on the radio show years ago when I was with my partner, knew them really well. They're called the Ghost Busting Gals, and they're really cool. And they use a pet that has died to get the kids to go over.
Mm-hmm.
They ask for the angels to open a portal for them, and they ask the pet to be brought through, and then the child sees the dog that it loved, and it will then go to the light.
Yeah, I've even asked my own guide if someone could be sent for that child to lead them out.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
And I agree wholeheartedly. No memes. A mother is God in the eyes of a child. She holds all authority.
Yep.
And when they're trapped together like that, sometimes they refuse to go cooperatively because one doesn't want to leave the other.
Right.
In which case, this certainly can be brought across together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm getting really tired, y'all.
We're pretty over.
Well, we're getting into some deep stuff here, some other side talk, and well, it kind of just comes with literally the territory. I live next to a cemetery in a church house with the church, so I gotta
on a haunted mine and a haunted highway.
Thank you, Renee. We think we do a good show every time, and most of the time we do. We try really hard.
But this is the flashing green light. I got it right here. The indicator is up here. I get it. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you're here, you're quantum of all the crazy cat videos and funny internet. You all ended up here. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and start pushing those buttons.
Thanks for your patience, Aussie. Appreciate it.
Bye.
And
Samo and Tim and everybody. Thanks so
everybody
much for
that
being
came
here.
into the show. It's hard to name everybody because the crowd's getting bigger, and I love it.
It is
And
great.
action figures are freaking awesome. I'm going to Dallas, taking the Quantum Show on the road or
On
in
the
the air.
road.
I'll be watching for aliens too. You know it.
Oh yeah.
It
and watching
those
for time
hearts and
traveling-
smiles for us, people. They
Yeah,
matter.
I'll be watching for time traveling restaurant goers, just like in Houston. That happened. That was nuts. But okay, I'm gonna leave that for it's for another show. Okay, y'all, take it easy. Pushing buttons. Gotta go.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Have a good Happy Father's Day.
Yeah.
I don't
Happy
is
Father's
that-
Day.
I don't know when that is.
That's tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Okay. Today. It's now.
Today. Well, that's
Yeah,
true.
Today.
Yeah.
some of us. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Okay, yeah. Oh, I'm starting to get a headache too. Pushing buttons. Pushing all. Let me get my pushing buttons thing here. I like the pushing buttons thing.
If you were here, you were quantum. We appreciate you coming.
I usually go over here and push the
He
buttons.
says bye. What's up, Tim?
Oh, I'm pushing the buttons.
Oh, we're pushing. We're all pushing buttons. Pushing buttons. Thanks, everybody. If y'all want to hang out, I gotta go. But if y'all want to hang out, feel free. Pushing buttons out of here, and you are